What's up, guys? We're recording. Um, so today, just want to make a quick video on how to effectively use the study group because, you know, uh, I've just seen a bunch of things which are kind of scary or which I don't think are like useful towards the study group. And the thing is, this study group can be extremely amazing and productive for all of us to improve, but we all need to be putting in more effort. I mean, maybe not myself. Um, I see that recently WizKid has been putting in a bit of effort. That's really nice. Nico, you were putting in effort, but after I kind of, uh, you know, told you not to do that type of stuff, or like not to make that previous video, you kind of stopped. So that's kind of sad to see because I actually really appreciated that effort you put in. Um, it was really good, and I didn't mean to scare you. I just wanted to show how to use the study group effectively. Mm, because obviously there's ways to improve, um, and I think I have a pretty good idea of how to use a study group effectively, both from this, but also by my previous coaching experience and also my previous experience organizing a similar study group like this. And but the main thing is we just all really need to be more active. Like everyone in the group need, wake up and contribute. Like it doesn't matter if you don't think you can help anyone, even if you can't contribute by helping anyone. Why don't you just post some questions in here or here, like Wizkid has been doing. That's nice. And me or someone else can answer. Also, it doesn't have to be me that answers. I don't always know the answer. And the great thing is, you know, I don't need to know the answer. A lot of these questions you're asking, you could actually find out on your own. Um, so, he was asking a question like, why do we barrel 6x on this turn? I wrote it out here. Then I also added something like, if you can't answer a question from analyzing a sim, like here, you can often do it by node locking the sim and messing around with it. So what I mean is you could, so for example, over here, you could node lock to like just not include any sixes in the barreling range because a lot of people wouldn't play like that anyways. So how would Big Blind react? And then that would basically be the exploit. And that would be like the exploit that Big Blind would do against someone who's not going to barrel all his sixes, or at least the minimal exploitative play. Um, so that could be really good. Like probably I would guess that Big Blind would have to call less of his eights and sevens in that case, because over here, Big Blind is incentivized to call more eights and sevens because of the six, because this guy's barreling a six, so he's still beating a bunch of sixes. But like the thing is, in position wants to fold out those eights and sevens, which it's going to do quite often as well. So it's a pretty interesting bluff. But yeah, usually you can answer the question in a sim. So if you want to find out why is GTO doing something, you can ask um, why, what would the exploit be if GTO did not do this? And you can do that by node locking, right? You can also like do other things. You can try to find out if the difference is because of the positions. Like you could take the preflop range. So for example, let's say small blind versus big blind. You're going to see that big blind is not raising much, and then you could just put big blind's position into small blind, and maybe uh, he starts raising a lot. Or maybe you can put like button versus big blind, and then the same ranges, and then now all of a sudden you see that like uh, yeah, you switch in position and out of position, and you see that uh, whereas out of position, in position was raising like almost never, out of position is raising more and stuff like that. Like that's going to show that GTO is doing something because of position in that situation. To find out what stack depth difference is when it's shallow or deep stacked, you could see like you could add a deep stack sim. So I actually did this with the King 6 4 5 Queen analysis earlier, where because I was really wondering why, because I didn't study it at shallow stacks. I studied the deep stacked situation. That's why I kind of knew that like 4x overbet jamming was a thing there. Um, but I didn't study on shallow stacks really. But like that's why I was really surprised by the high donking frequency. I didn't expect that. And so I wanted to know why was GTO's donking at such a high frequency. So what I did was I got a deep stack sim, and then I could analyze both of them, and then I kind of understood that actually by donking when shallow stacked, that's how we get the most value, but by checking when deep stacked, that's how we get the most value. So we're kind of thinking in terms of value, because if we donk when we're shallow, we can still jam on the river, and it's gonna be like we're gonna get more calls than if we just overbet jam actually. Whereas uh, when we're deep stacked, we're not gonna get many calls either way, and we're also like we'd rather like check raise on the turn or something, and he's gonna be barreling more as well. So we're gonna get more value deep stacked by going for the check raise or check call than check raise river maybe, or check call twice or something. Whereas when shallow stacked, we like to take initiative. We're just able to jam ourselves, which is really great, obviously. Mm, yeah, this is kind of similar to what I said earlier. Like, if you want to find out why GTO does something with a hand, you can ask node lock specific combos, and you ask the question, what is the exploit if GTO does not do this, basically? And that's how I'd like to go around playing with solvers. And throughout the course, I've um, a lot of examples of how I'd use solvers. Sometimes like for my meetings, I kind of did I played with the solvers beforehand. I took some notes and then I presented it to you. That's good. Um, but then for some of these, I was actually just doing the videos, like basically recording how I study, like just off table. I was like, so, over here, I didn't, I mean, apart from the flop, I didn't look at the sim. I didn't even look at the flop. I just made the sim. How do you call it? I made the sim solve. I found the solution, whatever. But not to waste video time, right? Because like doing the flop sim takes some processing power with the computer. So what I did was I just did that. I put in the parameters. I did the sim, and then before I even looked at the flop, I just clicked record, and then I just went through my thought process for the entire hand. And um, that's what my that's how I would be studying basically this situation. And then you saw I might be looking for some node locks at the same time. And then I finished the video, and then I realized, oh wait, there's so much more interesting things I could do with this. So I did some more, and then actually after this, I found some even more stuff I could do. So, and then I didn't record that because I was like, all right, I did enough. But you see, that's kind of the point. Like I was just trying to show you an example of how I study off tables myself with solvers to acquire all of this new knowledge. And it just comes down to doing this pretty regularly, pretty consistently. Mm, yeah. So, I mean, there's a few things, there's like two posts, two hands. And so, you know, if you guys could post some more hands, maybe I'll do something like everyone posts a hand once a week or like once a month or something. Just to be sure to keep the hands active. Like even if no one answers, then at least I could like go do a sim or something. Like it's better that I do a sim than nothing, I think, right? Like, I mean, if you guys can't bother to do it, then at least I could. But ideally, you would do it yourselves, then maybe present it to all of us. Um, yeah. Anyways, but I was just thinking of making this video because I bought this course by Elliot Rowe. It's really good. It's quite expensive, it's like 1,000 euros, but or dollars. But I think mindset's super important for me. I've always been at least above average, technically, theoretically. I think for me, my main problems have always been like mindset wise, like either volume or not really tilt, but I don't know, lifestyle maybe. Yeah, stuff like that. Consistency. And so, mm, yeah, I was just going through this, and it's a really good course. I'm like almost halfway done now, and I really like it. But anyways, there's something interesting in it that I thought related to the group towards studying, which I wanted to kind of show you. As, so I'm not going to talk about my own mental game, but yeah, you can see talks about becoming an A game player, talks about your mission, blah blah blah, talks about energy, talks about skill stacks. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. Rapidly leveling up your game. I thought this was a really interesting module or video, whatever. So I have to take some notes every video, and I'm trying to like become that A game mindset player. Okay. So, anyways, now that it's more common for players to put study time, your edge comes from taking an optimized approach. Yeah, because like again, when it comes to the study group, um, we don't really want to waste time with it. Like I really want you guys to be more active with it, but at the same time, if you do put in some time into it, then we don't want to waste time with it, and we want to make it very useful for all of us so that we can all gain stuff quickly. And the study group is important, don't get me wrong. Um, Having a poker network is extremely important. I think everyone can agree with that. Uh, Pretty much everyone I know on high stakes has a few people they talk with about hands, or they're just, in a stable. But we're not in a stable. This is why this is even more important to us, actually. So, no, I don't have another study group. But maybe if you guys are useless, then I'll go and get another one. I don't know. Anyways, the definition of studying is the process for acquiring and improving your poker skills. Okay. So the three stages are acquiring, reviewing, and practicing. So acquiring is learning new concepts that you did not know before. So this is really important because especially that we're not, in a stable, we're not getting coached, at least I'm not. Um, it's hard to acquire new skills, actually. And that's why we need to share with each other. So that's why I'm sharing a lot of knowledge with you because some of this stuff might be more like review to me, but reviewing is also very important. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I'm still acquiring new stuff every day. Well, not every day, but a lot, often consistently through my solver work, right? So I'm acquiring a lot of stuff with my solver work, and um, like I'm not, for example, acquiring anything from like Nice to Meet's coachings anymore. Uh, so no one, yeah, there's no one like that now. But maybe you guys could do some of your own solver work that is like kind of special, kind of interesting, and share it with everyone. And the thing is, again, when I talk about solver work, like I'm often not just talking about the pure GTO solution. I'm talking about find something new, because a lot of times if someone wants to just do a GTO solution, it's like could have just gone through that in Skiers or Instant GTO or whatever. Um, when you're looking for, I'm very often looking for exploits because, again, I'm an exploit player. You know, um, when I was reading Freak's blog, right? And he was saying that he was trying to be an exploit player. And I understood exactly what he meant. What he meant was he was trying to exploit the population's leaks. Like he was trying to imagine where people are doing things wrong and try to exploit that, like by going through like PeerSolver or simple postflop. And then, all right, people overfold in this spot. All right, I'm gonna see bet more with these type of hands, etc. Whatever. Mm, so that's exactly what he meant, and I understood that. But like, I was talking to like Jack over nine, and Jack over nine was like, "How can you try to exploit someone without a HUD?" And he kind of totally missed the point. But I knew exactly what he was talking about, and uh, that's actually the type of study that I do the most. I'd say right now is I would go into like simple, and I just do a shit ton of node locking. I'd say, all right, if this guy does this, what do I do? If he doesn't do that, what do I do? Like, I can do a laddering, like I can node lock, and then I can lock the other guy, and then I can unlock, and then just kind of see how it goes, basically, with the laddering and the node locks. And that's kind of how I like to study in terms of exploitative play, um, whilst knowing the baseline of GTO. And it's always possible to find something new. And so I would like to acquire some new knowledge from you guys, which hasn't happened much yet in the group, basically. Um, but yeah, we need to be more active, guys. We need to be more active. We need to make more videos, more spontaneous videos. It doesn't need to be on your week only. Like, it could be as often as you want. But the weekly things are there just to have some rule sets and just to make sure to give out warnings, or just to make sure to have a minimum amount of meetings or whatever, not meetings, but have a minimum amount of activity. But I think we need more activity. There's like very few posts. There's like two hands posted in like the month, basically. So that's not very much. Um, and yeah, we need to learn new concepts because it's hard to do that all alone by yourself. We don't have any coaches. So, the best way to acquire new knowledge now is actually together as a group. Like, I study something, I share it with you. You study something new that you didn't encounter before, share it with us. Like, even if you don't know the answer, just share it with us. Be like, what you think. Do you think it's good or bad? Why is it doing this? Blah, blah. That's going to be really useful. So reviewing is taking the concepts that you know and going over them again in order to understand them at a deeper level. It's like, um, Okay, so let's say acquiring would be like the 10-9-5 for me. This hand, these hands, these would be acquiring hands. And I was showing you how I would go through the acquiring process basically in these hands, right? So I was showing you how I'd go about acquiring this knowledge because I might not have known these solutions before. I might have never gone through these. Now, reviewing for me, well, maybe the deep stack one here because I kind of already knew that, but I haven't looked at it in a while, so I wanted to show it again. But reviewing would be like, yeah, this is kind of like review, but I want to show you a better example. Like, all right, so these first videos I made, I actually made these notes and I went through the sims beforehand. Especially if you want to present something through PO, you need to do it beforehand. With simple, it's really fast. You can just node lock stuff immediately, pretty much, as you see in the videos, like on turns and rivers, you can node lock like pretty much immediately, and you don't need to do much in advance. So you can literally acquire and present at the same time. But if you're doing PO, you need to actually acquire beforehand, make some notes, review it yourself, and then present it to everyone else. And presenting it to everyone else is also a great way of reviewing. Like there's this saying, like you can't learn, you haven't mastered what you learned until you're able to teach it or something. I mean, that's totally true. So yeah, in these PO sims I did all the work beforehand. I made some notes beforehand. I knew what I was going to talk about pretty much exactly. I knew questions I'd be asking you guys. That's why I had a set of questions ready. And then I presented it and I just went through with the plan basically. Pretty much that's what I was doing there. So I was basically reviewing what I already knew. Um, but I mean, it was probably very useful for a lot of people. And it was useful for myself too because reviewing, it gets that stuff into your head. Then practice is basically drilling. Practice is taking a skill you already have and drilling it over and over, take it from knowledge to competence. So there's one of the main ways of practice is obviously just grinding. But other than grinding, you could also just, like, I don't know, you could like have some pre-flop chart exercises maybe. Like I have a bunch of pre-flop charts saved on my coffee calcs that maybe I'll study for a bit, like 10 to 15 minutes a day before my grind or something, and a warm up. Drilling could also be like, going into a simple GTO trainer and just drilling through spots like boom, boom, boom. What does GTO do? Like button versus big blind, or like heads up small blind, deep stack. Like just boom, boom, drill hand after hand. Like maybe even drill specific spots like ace XX flops, what sizings to use on different flops, turns, and rivers, etc. Like that's drilling. Drilling could also be. So I think some of these videos you did. So I think Mari Monkey. Yeah, this was more an example of drilling than acquiring or reviewing. So why do I say this? Because Mari Monkey here, he basically went through marked hands. And going through marked hands is a form of drilling. It's, again, good way to study by yourself, and you should do it. It's very good. It's very important to do. It's the same with this, which I kind of told off. Like, yeah, this Nico did a quick video on one spot from Insta GTO. That was pretty much also drilling. Again, like I say it was drilling because you weren't really acquiring any new knowledge. You were going through a spot in GTO very, very fast. Like you didn't go through the flop or turn. And just drilling. Like if you want to go through a lot of, you could pick like drilling. Another example of drilling is like, going through hands in your database, like filtering through, heads up, big blind versus c-bet, go through those hands, and that's called drilling. Basically, go through those hands. Um, this was an example of drilling, except it was like we didn't drill many hands. Instead, we just drilled one hand. That's why the video was so short. But basically, like what you, it could be drilling if you like, for example, um, so this was inspired by WizKid, who was doing a hand review earlier. Hand reviews are examples of drilling as well, right? Like exactly, yeah. And then you could also drill hand reviews in InstaGTO and just look at what the solution is in InstaGTO, for example. That's a quick method of drilling too. Like if you just want to find out the GTO solution for a spot, then yeah, go into InstaGTO. There's nothing wrong with that. Actually, it's great. That, but it's just not the best way to use the study group. You understand my point? Like, want to use the study group here, it should be used for acquiring and reviewing, because these are the two things that we need to do the most to get new knowledge, to improve our level. And then, drilling shouldn't be something we should be doing using this. We need the study group for. Drilling should be something we do on ourselves. Like, I do drilling by either grinding or simple GTO trainer or studying preflop charts. Those are my main ways. You can have other ways. You might like use like hand filters or hand reviews. That's totally fine. But again, it's just drilling. Like you want to acquire new knowledge. We all want to acquire new knowledge. We need to find something new. And, you know, I think the easiest way to find something new is to do it in solvers. We don't really have a coach or anything to show us something new. So, okay, for example, okay, this is just something silly to finish off. Two examples of poor study: watching high stakes TV shows or like watching Twitch poker or something. That's pretty, it's not very useful. Studying small blind versus button three bet pots post flop. You want to go through useful spots too, right? Usually you want it to be in a position that you play frequently, so at least in spins there's not like any under the gun or anything, right? It's not a six-handed game where like under the gun is playing a super tight range, and it's not too important to study that position apart from pre-flop because you're just not going to play it so often, and your range is so damn strong that post-flop won't be as complicated as many other spots where you're going to play very wide ranges, for example, big blind versus button or something. Like studying small blind versus button 3-bet pots in spin and goes is one of the most useless spots to study because it just won't happen that much. I mean, it could be fun, like if I was smoking weed one day and I just wanted to like study poker, then I'd probably go ahead and study this for fun or something. But it just isn't that useful. Yeah. So there's, a ton of stuff you can be studying, but it's really important to know what you should be studying because again, like, time is really important. It's the only resource that can't get back, and it's the most valuable resource for every human being. So we need to use our time efficiently and optimally, and yeah, focus on fundamentals that can impact our win rate the highest. So, we need to study, and we need to not waste time studying. So that's why I want like good quality when you guys make stuff, but I also really want you guys to be more active. So uh, in any way. All right. Anyways, I guess that I am gonna be done for today. today's video, and I just wanted to kind of explain how to efficiently use this group better and what I'm kind of looking more for after this, after the first month. And let's try to pick the pace up, guys? So thanks.